Hello and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to talk about some new repro games that I got from a store called RetroGrafx16. Now, if that name rings a bell, that means you probably know what system these are for. And yes, these are for the TurboGrafx16 CD system, and also the PC Engine CD-ROM 2/Super CD-ROM. But we'll get to that in a minute. So, originally, I've always wanted to buy Ys Book 1 and 2. I've always wanted to play this game, but I thought one day I'll own the system, I'll get a real copy of the game, but the price kept going up. I kept checking eBay, and the price was now up to like $300 on there, and there's no way I'm going to pay that, especially because the loose price was still going for about $100 to $150, depending how lucky you were for the day. And I had some Christmas money, and I was thinking, okay, I don't normally spend that much on a single game, but this is a game I've been wanting to play forever. And I said, okay, I'm going to look one up. And I found it on Amazon, of all places. And it was being sold by a seller, I believe the name was Life for Gaming. And I put in the order, and then I noticed that the shipping said it wasn't going to show up until February. Now, keep in mind, this was right after Christmas. So originally I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe he's on vacation, because that happens. And usually sellers on things like eBay or Etsy or other places, they'll put a notice in saying, hey, we're on vacation. When we come back, we're going to ship everything, expected around such and such date. So I went looking for the guy's store. And on Amazon, that's almost impossible, so I decided I'll just throw the name into Google and see what I come up with. So on Google, I came up with Reddit. And on Reddit, I found some interesting posts about this guy. So what he actually is doing is you place an order with him, and let's say you spent $150. So he's going to take that, and he's going to try to find the game for cheaper on eBay. And then he's going to buy it from that person and then send it to you. So he's really just hoping that he comes across another copy. Well, I can tell you that didn't happen because I've been watching eBay forever for this game, and there was just no loose copies coming up on eBay. So basically, at that point, I wasn't expecting to get anything, or if I did, I was going to end up paying more for it. Time goes on, it was getting close to February, and he creates a label, and it just sits. It just says label created, nothing happens with it. Of course, Amazon, when it gets close to the date, if you pass your shipping arrival date, they'll say, well, in 72 hours, if you don't get any sort of updates, you'll be eligible for a refund. Well, the guy decides to just email me and say, hey, your package was returned to me from the post office, and it was smashed, the disc was cracked, the case was destroyed, and he, for some reason, said that the manual survived, even though the listing didn't say it came with the manual, so I think he was a little, lost at that point. I did find another Reddit post saying that he actually would buy these things on eBay, then say it was defective, get his money back from the eBay seller, and then ship it to you. So this guy is just terrible. So if you see Life for Gaming on Amazon, forget it. It's all capitalized, Life, the number 4, and then I believe it says Gaming. Skip that guy. Just keep going. So, RetroGrafx16 has a very reasonable price on repro copies of games. They were sent out quickly. This guy did say he was on vacation. He very much flat out wrote that on his website and said, I will be back on this date, and when I'm there, we'll send out everything. And he did. He was very good about that. It shipped very quickly. We had a little mishap with our PayPal payment situation where I used a business account. It didn't match my, contact email, but it quickly was resolved. He was very understanding. Very good guy to work with. And how are the quality? I'll tell you what. This stuff, when he shipped it with the Japanese side of the label out. I flipped it over because I prefer the American side. But let's look at the quality of this. It's got a shiny label, which, you can see the light reflecting off the shiny label. Yes, I could make these myself, but first off, the printers I have here are not good enough to get this detailed, especially on the label. I can kind of make this happen on a cover. In fact, let me show you something that I have done. Here is a repro game that I made years ago. It looks okay. I mean, it's not bad. This isn't right because I don't have the correct cases for this. My end spine bit is okay. Back is okay. The readability is all right. My cut quality on the edges, I don't know if you can see, is a bit wavy. But then, open it up, it's just a CDR with some writing on it. I've never been able to get labels to look that good. In fact, let me show you one that I thought was decent, but still wasn't very good. So here's a repro I made of Rule of Rose, because the three horror, the trifecta on PS2, they're expensive as can be, and they're not that good. So I made this one, and I thought, it came out all right. It's not terrible, but it's not a glossy label. The alignment's not 100% correct. And, if I'm going to spend all this money getting all this stuff to make fake games, by the time I've paid all that money for the good discs, the good printer, the good paper, the good cutter, it's cheaper just to buy some from somebody else, and it's a lot less work. So that's how I justify not doing it myself, because yes, I can. I know how, but I don't feel like it. So these ones, with very, very shiny, glossy, nice labels, he even used the better CDs. This one is not quite as blue as I'm used to, but I can tell it isn't just standard CDR, because I did compare it to the Zelda one that I did put back. Let me show you another one. There you go. That one's much more blue. And it's the higher quality discs. They're not the archival permanent M discs, but those are like $25 a piece. I don't expect him to use that. He's using great quality stuff. So the games that I bought, it's just all the Ys games on the system. Ys Book 1 and 2, Ys 3 Wanderers from Ys, and the never released in English Ys 4, Dawn of Ys, but this is the translated version. So this one, there's no... If I bought the real version, I'd never be able to understand it. This was always going to end up being this kind of thing. Ys Book 1 and 2, loose price, $150 up. Ys Book 3, $300 if you're lucky. So how much were these? These were about $25 a piece. You combine shipping, and with tax, I think I paid somewhere around $84 for 3 games, as opposed to paying upwards of $500, and then one that I never understand anyway. So, there's more. On each of these, they were shipped with a second disc. And what's on that second disc? Soundtracks. And I don't know if they ever will officially were released, but we have, Ys 1 and 2, Ys 3, and Ys 4, the soundtrack. Now, I did take them out because they were just kind of stacked with some bubble wrap inside just to keep them from getting scratched. But he went all out here, too. This is still high-quality disc. This is still high-quality label. And I just find it cool, because for a lot of these older games, certain ones, I quite enjoy the soundtrack. And I have to say, I'm not as familiar with 3 and 4, but the soundtrack to Books 1 and 2 is one of the best soundtracks from this time period, from 89, 88. It says 89 on the back, so yeah. 1989 with full CD quality. This one even says it's the Roland sound space. So it's good music. It's worth having and listening to the soundtracks. So I'm very glad for the price, you get all that. It's worth it. Now, do they work? Now, I do have an analog duo to put this on, which kind of justifies, fake system, fake games. It's all right with me. So let's pop it in and see what happens. Before we go over to the TV, I just want to kind of show you what this system does with discs. I don't know if it's because of how glossy this is, but you really have to kind of push it, and when you eject the disc, it really has quite the hard time. Let's see if we can get it to come right back out. Yeah, I don't know if that's the disc drive or if that's because of the discs. So let's go ahead and go over to the TV. Alright, this won't be my usual sort of setup just because it's not a wing it. We're not going to get to that depth. But I did want to show you I am using an 8-bit, though it's not going to focus, TurboGrafx. It's actually the Turbo Duo version. But yeah, it recognizes the discs, Ys Book 1 and 2, Super CD-ROM 2, all that kind of stuff, Region USA, it knows all about it. So let's go ahead and play it. So I'll also give you an idea of how the Analog Duo works. I haven't updated the firmware on it yet, so I don't know if the volume problem gets fixed. But the volume is quite low. Alright, so here we are finally at the beginning screen. Let's go ahead and hit beginning. in the beginning. And there it is, that wonderful late 80s poppy, EDM, whatever you want to call it, synth pop sort of music. The soundtrack is really amazing. But yeah, the game works great. If you really want some TurboGrafx CD games, maybe you got yourself a Duo. I mean, he has been pretty popular. He said he's had a lot of orders since the Duo came out. So if you didn't know about it, this is a good way to get some nice high quality, repro titles. And yeah, I'm definitely going to order more for this guy in the future. And I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.